Listen to me carefully what I'm about to say here. Voter suppression is a threat to the entire democracy. And let me be clear, white people are not the primary targets of this voter suppression. Black people and people of color are. And this flagrant, outrageous attack is coming almost exclusively from Republican lawmakers. So far, 400 restrictive bills have been introduced in 48 states during this year's legislative session. According to a study by the Brennan Center for Justice at the New York University School of Law, the U.S. is on track to exceed its most recent period of significant voter suppression, which was in 2011 when 14 states enacted 19 restrictive voting laws. To be clear, that was during Obama's first term and after the 2010 midterms in which Republicans made historic gains in state houses. Republican leadership in Texas is now backtracking on restrictions viewed as a direct attack on the souls to the polls, during which black churches helped their members get out to vote. Initial language in the legislation barred early voting before 1 p.m. on Sundays, but now Texas Republicans say that the 1 p.m. restriction was actually a typo, and that the start time should have been 11 a.m. Yeah, right. The Republican restrictions run the gamut, including restricting food and water distribution and stipulations on transporting non-relatives to polling locations. Republicans want to restrict votes by Democrats. No other groups votes more consistently for Democratic candidates than black voters. So Republicans have made black voters a target. Joining us to discuss race and its relationship to voter restrictions is Senior Fellow and Director of the Brennan Center for Justice, Ted Johnson. Mr. Johnson, thank you for being here, sir. I just want to ask you, I just want to ask you in the open, is there any other explanation for this? Am I missing something? Is there any other way to describe these voter restrictions other than being aimed primarily at people of color, including and probably especially black people?
No, you're reading it exactly right. Here's the thing. Ever since the founding of this country, the goal of people with political power has been to shape the electorate in a way that helps them win elections. It's not been about expanding the democracy. It's not been about making it more participatory. Anytime democracy has expanded, it's because politicians often felt that it will help them win elections. So what we're seeing right now is a Republican Party that is worried a changing nation is going to make it impossible for them to win future elections. So they're crafting rules that will make it easier for folks who are more likely to vote Republican to vote, more difficult for folks who are more likely to vote Democrat to vote. And this is the age-old game of again shaping the electorate in a way that helps one side win elections over the other. Now, Democrats play this game too. The thing is, Democrats are playing this game by expanding the electorate, by including more people in elections, because they have a good sense that the more people that participate, they feel like their ideas will win out. Republicans aren't even looking at playing that game of making policy appeals. Instead, they want to only allow those folks that are most likely to vote for them, make it easier for those folks and make it more difficult for other people. So whether or not you're pro-democracy, anti-democracy, everyone's looking to shape the electorate in a particular way. But if you're doing it in a way that is including more people in pro-democracy measures and tactics, then you're actually helping the American project along. And frankly, the Democrats are winning on this, on the moral side of this argument.
So, see, and that's how I see it. To me, voting access and more people being allowed to vote is the whole enchilada. If for jobs bills and infrastructure and all that's good and well, but if I have no say in the people who run the country, make the rules, not just in the presidential level or in the halls of Congress, but if I can't vote, I also can't vote for the county commissioner. I also cannot vote, for the school board. If I can't vote, that's the whole ball of wax. I mean, is it just that simple as we're saying? If they are successful in restricting and reshaping and defining down the pool of people who can vote, are they in fact kind of dismantling what we have come to see as the American democracy?
Yes, absolutely. And here's the thing. There's a couple points here, and I'll try to make them quickly. The first thing is that something like a quarter of Black folks identify as conservative. And so conservatives are wondering, how come we can't win these Black voters? Well, it's because for Black folks, every election is about civil rights. And one of the foremost issues in the civil rights fight is access to the ballot. And so don't talk to me about the size of government, how many regulations there are, how much the defense budget should be, clean energy versus fossil fuels. All of that doesn't matter if you complicate my access to the ballot. So it doesn't matter if I'm conservative. If one party is preventing me from voting and another party is making it easier for me to vote, then the other conservative values I might hold go to the way, because I want to be with the party. I want to support the party that's going to facilitate my access to the polls. So that's the first thing. The other thing, the Republicans are panicking preemptively, I think. Look, though something like a third of the voting eligible population in the United States are people of color, Black, Hispanic, Asian American, and et cetera. And yet in the 2020 election, 75% of the people who actually voted were white Americans. So though the nation is changing demographically, the electorate is changing much more slowly. And so this is the Republicans recognize this. And so, of course, they're looking at, again, making it easier for their folks to vote and complicating other folks. But if they begin now making earnest policy appeal by expanding the electorate, then when the demography does change in a couple of decades, they can actually compete on conservative ideas, because there is a not insignificant of people of color who hold conservative values on education, on a number of issues. But they can never win if their tactic prevent people from participating in our democracy. That is Jim Crow, that is democracy, it is the liberal, and any other policy argument you make pales in comparison to that tactic.
Listen, so this is the way it's supposed to work, right? The Constitution gives states the right to conduct elections as they choose. This is what they're doing. The bill in the Congress is stalled. Doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere unless they break the filibuster, which Manchin and Sinema don't seem prone to do. What is the recourse? What happens now? Do these bills, if they're passed and signed by governors, do they just become law? Or is there any hope that they'll be overturned? Or how many in the last phase, as we noted in 2011, how many of those bills were overturned in any way? Or is this just, it becomes law and that's it?
So we'll see. We will see what happens. There's a case going before the Supreme Court, I think it's next term, that is basically going to see if laws that are passed that are discriminatory in effect, will they be deemed unconstitutional? So we know the Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voting Rights Act of 65, the 14th and 15th Amendments, essentially, especially the 15th Amendment, if you create laws that are intentionally racially discriminatory, that is unconstitutional. But what is less clear is if you create voting laws that have the effect of racial discrimination or partisan discrimination, then the Supreme Court has not weighed in on whether or not that is unconstitutional. So and they will in this coming term. The outcome of that case will determine a lot of the future of voting rights law in the absence of this one being passed or the John Lewis Voting Rights Act being passed. So what the recourse is, especially if some of these Republican assemblies succeed, if assemblies decide they don't like the outcome of their state's election and they give themselves the power to overturn the results, then I think you will absolutely see the Supreme Court weigh in on, because there's an elections clause, there's, discriminatory things are prohibited by the Constitution, and that they can then begin to intervene at the state level. But we're not there yet. And the Supreme Court has not said whether it will be willing to intervene on those kinds of questions. That we'll find out. So if the Supreme Court doesn't get involved, or the interpretation of laws on the books aren't interpreted in a way that allows the federal government to preempt states that are looking to overturn elections through legislatures, then we are in real trouble of losing this American experiment if we allow the will of the people to be arbitrarily overturned just because a party lost an election.
It's very, Ted, it's very worrisome. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, you're basically telling us that we have to depend on the Supreme Court that Donald Trump just finished stacking to step in to deal with these laws if we're going to be able to deal with them at all. That is a frightening prospect. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it.